Okay, here it is, my review of the new Naruto Shippuden Ninja Storm 3 video game on the Xbox 360. Story of Storm 3 is it's set during the Great Ninja Wars. Everything in the game is a complete sequel and continuation of Storm 2. Everything is completely based on the manga and on the anime, and it's very, very, very faithful to the manga, except for the ending of the game, which of course they had to create their own original ending because the fourth Great Ninja War is still continuing on in the manga and has not finished. So that's the basic story. The story is fun, it's interesting, but in terms of the actual game, I thought the structure of the story in the game was actually not that good. So the beginning of the game pretty much is like prior to the Great Ninja War, and it's kind of setting the scene and you know, going through kind of Naruto's like backstory. And while it is interesting and it's fun and it is of course important, I felt that the beginning of the game, the first half of the game, it started really slowly. One of the reasons why it felt so slow is because there's so much dialogue and so many cutscenes, and not all of the dialogue is in animated scenes. Now, if you are a fan of the manga and of the anime, then of course you have a huge interest in the story of Naruto, and of course you're going to choose to play through those cutscenes and would have an interest in it. However, I think if you're a beginner, if you're like new to the Naruto story, like nothing from what happened in Ninja Storm 2 is you know, there's no like recap of the events of Storm 2, and the beginning of the game will feel very, very slow, and that of course is a danger because it does mean that some people could get bored with the game and that they could choose, you know, to put the game down and not to continue to play it. So I felt the beginning of the story was a little bit too long and too slow paced. I felt that there should have been some more fights and combat in it, and even a couple of the key fights that I was excited to play, I was surprised were not actually playable fights. Like, it would show you a cutscene and then it would fade to black and then it would continue, and that was kind of really annoying and really frustrating. So the second half of the game is the Great Ninja War. And while it was fun to fight some of like the big key battles in that war, I felt it was too fast, and the last 5 chapters felt incredibly quick, and effectively each chapter would be like go from fight to fight, maybe have a little bit of cutscene in there but not much, and it was mostly fighting, and I was going through the chapters like so quickly, and I felt there was so much potential there for story and character development. I feel that in Storm 3 there was too much focus on Naruto, and like the Great Ninja War was a great opportunity for the game designers to actually, you know, provide a little bit of character development and story based kind of narratives on the other characters within the ninja world. And there was a lot of scenes that were in the anime and the manga that were not in the game, and I felt that they actually hurt the game because they were absent. You just don't feel as invested in winning this conflict as you did when watching the anime and the manga, because they really, you know, set that up quite nicely. So I really felt it could have been taken into a second game easily. It felt like it was very, very rushed, and I am concerned about the future. I don't know what they're going to do. If they continue on the franchise, you know, is Storm 4 going to create a completely new original storyline? You know, are they going to backtrack and you're going to fight the war again but with more fights? Like, how are they going to take it on from here? Because of course they pretty much did wrap up the story mostly. Of course, like, you know, there is Sasuke and his storyline, but yeah, I don't know where they're going to go from here, and it did feel like they wasted some opportunities, you know, to show really cool things within the Great War. And then the third part of the game, which is like after you complete the game, is really boring. Basically all the little side missions, you know, and they have a section, the fragment section, which for me was incredibly disappointing. You collect these fragments, these crystals, and then it unlocks like this little side story with focused on Sasuke, and I was incredibly disappointed with that. I thought that was, you know, a really wasted opportunity. One of the good things about the after the game content is the great ninja world timeline, which I actually really like. You know, as you pick up scrolls, you unlock, you know, past events that was set, you know, when Naruto was, you know, prior to the 3-year skip, and also within Ninja Storm 2. And I like those, and that does, of course, give you a lot of, like, you know, fun replayability and reliving certain key events within the series. But that's it. That's the only good thing in the post-game content in terms of the story. So I really feel like they got the balance wrong within Storm 3. In Storm 2, it was much better. The side missions were all the way through the game, so you could do a couple of side missions here and there to level up, and then you could go and continue on with the main story. The balance between cutscene, dialogue, and combat was a lot more better, you know, was better balanced in Storm 2 as well, I felt. So I really feel like they didn't get the balance right in Storm 3, and that, of course, you know, really hurts the experience of playing the game. There are over 80 playable characters. The characters are great. I love the fact that there are characters not only from, you know, set within kind of the Great Ninja War, all the Jinchuriki, the 5 Kage, Naruto and Sasuke, and all the, you know, ninja from the different villages. But also you can unlock, you know, different characters from earlier on in the series, which is really cool. So I think you can have like four different kinds of Narutos, all with different abilities and powers, which is really great. So the 80 playable characters does make it a lot of fun when you're wanting to play the versus mode and you want to play, you know, against your friends, and that's really enjoyable. There is one issue and glitch, however, that I came across when playing the game, which is a real problem. If you have a save file for Storm 2 or Generations, the support characters that you unlocked in that game are glitched in Storm 3, and that means that you can't like get all of their support types. And no matter what you do in the main story mode, you know, in terms of like building up your friendships, that doesn't change. So I am hoping that apparently there is a workaround. If you download a skin, you pay money and download a skin for this character, a new skin, and that seems to fix it. But that's ridiculous, like having to pay money to fix this glitch. I am hoping that that they will fix this glitch, that it will be fixed at some point in the future. The sheer number of skins as well is another real positive point to this game. There are so many skins that you can buy and that you can download, and there's a lot of really fun different character skins for especially for Naruto. There's so many different kinds, like, you know, I think he's got like Goku's character skin, which is really awesome, and even when he does his Rasengan, it looks like Kamehameha. It's really awesome. But there's a couple of things of course I'm not a huge fan of with regards to that. I feel there's too much focus on Naruto. There are so many skins for Naruto, but there are not enough skins for other characters. So I'm hoping that in later DLC content that it's going to focus less on Naruto and will focus more on other characters, because, you know, people have other favorite characters that aren't Naruto, and they like to play as the other characters, and they would like to be given the option to have a different skins available for that character, which is a fair enough request. The art style is exactly the same as Storm 2. It's really nice. It's really crisp. It looks great. The worlds look, you know, really nice. Like the different villages are really quite authentic to the anime and the manga. The cutscenes are really great. They're very well animated. The lighting in them is very good. They're very fluid and like no glitches. There's no overlap of any movements. The voice acting is great. The voice acting is superb. Although I will admit, when I played it, I always play through in Japanese with English subtitles, because I'm one of those people that feel that if you watch something that was created at first in Japanese, you should watch it in Japanese. That was how it was intended. And plus, I'm not a huge fan of the English dub voice acting for Naruto. Some of the characters are okay. Kakashi's okay. Guy Sensei's hilarious in English. But I don't know, Naruto's voice, it just grates on my ear, it gets on my nerves. So I always watch and play this game in Japanese with English subtitles, and that's how I think it should be played. And if you have never tried it in Japanese, I highly recommend it. Of course, you do have to read subtitles as you're playing, and sometimes when you're fighting in combat, that can be a little bit difficult. But I think it is better in Japanese than it is in English. The music, of course, is also very, very good within the game. A lot of the music that is within Storm 3 is lifted directly from the anime, and so it's very well developed and very well created. So let's get on to the bread and butter of this game, which is gameplay. Probably the most important part of this game. So the combat in this game is probably its biggest strength. The combat in this game is great, really good. Everything pretty much that was in Storm 2 is back in Storm 3. Although, apparently, from what some of my friends have told me who play this game, there have been some complaints on the internet because some of the combos that were originally available in Storm 2 are no longer present in Storm 3. For me personally, I didn't feel that ruined my gameplay experience. I found the combat incredibly fluid, fast, fun, exciting. I really like the new edition of, because I didn't buy Generations, so for me this was a new edition. I really like the new edition of the substitution log, bar, so you can click LB and substitute out of it. I like that, and I like that system because it does make you play more strategically, because you can't always if you go to hit a superpower and somebody can substitute out of it, you waste your chakra and you make yourself incredibly vulnerable. So I felt that it made you a better player because you had to play more strategically, more cleverly. You couldn't just button crunch. You had to really plan your moves and your attacks quite carefully, and also use your support a lot more effectively too. So I thought that was a really great addition to the game. I like the new secret moves system that they have, where a little icon appears and you have to do a move to trigger a special cutscene. I thought they were really fun and really great, and some of the cutscenes in those moves were absolutely epic. However, I will say I wish there were more of them. There were only four unique special moves, and they only happened within 4 big fights. And I would have liked to have seen that happen a lot more regularly, and I would have liked to have seen a lot more variety in those special moves. The new Awakened state was also incredibly fun. I love the fact that you could do that right from the beginning, and that did make the gameplay feel a lot differently. And also whether you use that as well, once that awakened state runs out, you become vulnerable. So you had to really think carefully about how to use it. But some of the awakened forms were just absolutely insane and overpowered, and really fun to play with. I like the new combat against multiple enemies. I thought that was really fun and very fluid, being able to target a certain enemy and take them out, and then a button would appear and you would you'd dash towards another enemy, or being able to do certain combos and take out multiple enemies at the same time. That was really fun and quite enjoyable to play, and I would have liked to have seen that happen a lot more in the game. I think there were only really 2 or 3 big sections when that was available within the gameplay, and I would have liked to have seen that happen a lot more. So the big thing why people love this game is the boss battles. So what were the boss battles like in Storm 3? Well, there were some really fun boss battles in this game. There were some fun boss battles and some great epic fights and action scenes and so on, which were just fantastic. But for me personally, I was incredibly disappointed in the boss battles. I remember the highlight of Storm 2 was the boss battles were amazing, and I felt that in Storm 3 the boss battles just seemed to be a little bit repetitive and a little bit less, they weren't as creative as they were in Storm 2. It felt very much like, you would get to a big boss battle, you'd have an ordinary versus combat fight, and then, you'd kick the hell out of the other person and get their energy bar down to a certain level, and then it would, that person would flash and it would go to a cutscene, and it would be, a quick time action scene where you'd have to press certain buttons to do certain moves, and then ultimately defeat the big boss. There were a couple of exceptions to that within some of the boss battles, particularly later on, the last 2 boss battles, for example. But for the most part, most boss battles kind of followed this system, and I got a little bit bored with it, to be fair, and I found the boss battles not as challenging as they had been in Storm 2. I think every fight except the last one was really easy to achieve S rank on. And so for those gamers that really do want a challenge and they want to they really want to push themselves, maybe they'll get a little bit bored with some of these boss battles, personally, is what I think. And so I feel a little bit like they just rushed the game out and they didn't spend as much time thinking about the actual fight scenes and how to make them fun and unique and creative and different to what happened in the anime. Of course, you want, the same kind of epic events and you want, because people want to experience that, but making them a little bit different and giving them a little bit of a change also is really enjoyable and quite exciting and fun. The final thing is I like the new legend versus hero choice that you had, the 2 routes that you could take. I thought that was a really great system. It was also really handy because you could look at each one and get an idea of what that entailed, and of course hero was easier than legend, but sometimes I felt that the description was a little inaccurate, and in some cases legend was a lot easier than hero, which it's not intended to be, so I felt that was quite funny. But it was very enjoyable to choose the route that you want to actually go, and that made it interesting. You had to really think about okay, which route do I want to take? And also it does lend a lot to replayability because you can go back into the Ninja World timeline, and if you did the first battle, you did it in Legend, you can try it in Hero and see how it's different, and that's really, really great, really fun and really great. This is a fighting game, so the multiplayer element to it is incredibly important. Playing it on a local server is great, no problem. The new addition of tournament mode is really, really fun. The versus mode is also great. The team-based, support-based mode and the single character mode is back. And so the local versus is really great. However, the online versus mode does have some issues. There are good things with it, things like unlocking titles and ranks and points, and you can customize your ninja card, you can exchange cards with people that you meet, so you can get a good roster of friends and people online that you like playing against. All these things are great. However, the online servers do not really support play between 2 people that are from different regions. The connection speed was really terrible, and that meant that there was a lot of a lag in the game. And when you're playing a combat game which is so fast paced like Storm 3, it's really difficult to actually play the game. So unfortunately the online function really, the only possibility is to play against people from your own region. So if you're perfectly fine with doing that, and you're perfectly fine with only playing with people within your region, then that's not an issue for you, that's not a problem. But for me, I really enjoy playing against people who are from different parts of the world. It's really enjoyable to meet new people and to play against them, and I think it's a real shame that you really can't do that in Storm 3. So overall then, what did I think overall of Storm 3? Well, it's a good game. It is a good game. The story is great. The sheer number of playable characters makes this game really enjoyable. The combat, the gameplay is fluid and it works perfectly. There are no real issues or glitches in the gameplay. However, it is held back by the structure of its story. This does hinder the game quite significantly. Its online weaknesses in terms of playing against people from other regions in the world does really hurt the game, I feel, as well. So overall, it's a good game. I wouldn't consider this a great game, but it's a fun game to play. And so I would give this game a 7 out of 10. Personally, I felt Storm 2 was the better game, but I do still think this game is a good game. So I'm going to give this game the N7 Silver medal. I'm going to say that this game is fun to play. And I recommend that it definitely is a game that you think about buying and playing in the future. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. If you've played Storm 3, what did you think of it? Do you agree or disagree with my opinions on the game? Did you think Storm 2 was the better game or Storm 3 was the better game? And who is your favorite character in Storm 3 to play with? Who is your go-to character when you're playing against other people? Right, so I'm going to leave it here for now. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in my next video right here on my channel. So see you guys next time. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
勝負あり